Cultura.
Culture.
Cultura.
文化
Cultura.
Sabiachar.
Cultura. Culture. Watanata.
Cultura.
Politismas.
Cultura.
Culture!
Multiculturalism is the preservation of different cultures and lifestyles within a community and is important to preserve. Opportunities to explore and appreciate these cultures, usually left undiscovered, are provided by Pearl S. Buck International. This past summer, 13 high school students from 12 different schools came together to present to you this exciting and educational multicultural video. In this video, you will have the opportunity to get a taste of different cultures from around the world that are not usually explored. As Pearl S. Buck once said, the young do not know enough to be prudent, and therefore they attempt the impossible and achieve it generation after generation.
Pearl Comfort Stricker was born June 26, 1892 in Hillsborough, West Virginia. Pearl's parents were missionaries in China and returned with her 3 months after her birth. Pearl grew up in close intimacy with the Chinese people, absorbing their culture. In 1917, she married John Lossing and spent their first 5 years in North China. Memories of peasant life in the region became the basis of her best-known work, The Good Earth. The Good Earth was awarded the Pulitzer Prize in 1932 and was developed into an Oscar award-winning film in 1937. Pearl was divorced and married Richard Walsh in 1935. She purchased Green Hills Farm and raised a large international family, including their 7 adopted children and several foster children. In 1938, Pearl Buck was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature for her epic portrayal of Chinese peasant life and for the biographies of her parents. She was the first American woman to be awarded with both the Pulitzer and Nobel Prizes for literature. In 1949, when she became aware of the immense problem of children of mixed race, Pearl Buck and her friends in Bucks County, Pennsylvania founded the Welcome House Adoption Agency. The Pearl S. Buck Foundation was created as a child sponsorship organization to help children in their own countries with health, education, and job training.
The name of the song is Santoki. It's a traditional Korean song that children would learn. The translation is, Mountain bunny, bunny, where are you going? Bouncing, bouncing as you're running, where are you going? Santoki, toki ya, untiler ganyu ya, kongjin, kongjin, timoise, untiler ganyu ya.
The art of henna has been practiced for over 5,000 years in the Middle East, Africa, and India. Henna has often been used for its cooling effects, medicine, and is applied during special occasions. The dye comes from a flowering plant that contains the dye lawson, which is made into a paste and will bind to the proteins in skin, temporarily staining it. Traditional hennas are applied for birthdays, weddings, and other special occasions. These elaborate designs will cover hands, arms, legs, and feet, and often require multiple henna artists to complete. The henna paste can also provide an air-conditioned feeling in the hands and feet submerged, as well as acting like a sunscreen in hot and sunny climates. So to begin mixing your henna, make sure that you have 20 milligrams or a quarter cup in your handy-dandy mixing bowl. You're going to pour it in and flatten it out on the bottom so there's no large clumps. And then add your freshly squeezed strained lemon juice. Make sure you don't get any seeds in there because that'll mess up your consistency. Now you're going to add it a small amount at a time, slowly getting it to a milky consistency. You don't want any dry spots or lumps, and eventually, after stirring it for long enough, you're going to end up with something akin to mashed potatoes. So henna involves a lot of stirring. You're probably going to be doing this for about 10 to 15 minutes. So as you can see, make sure to scrape the bottom of the bowl and the sides to get all of it mixed in. And it also helps to have a handy-dandy assistant to be able to hand you things. So empty the rest of your lemon juice into your bowl and stir. As you can see, the consistency is starting to get thicker. And the color has darkened significantly. So it seems now we've almost got a good consistency. It's almost time to add our sugar. Now Now, the sugar is a very special part of henna because what it does is it adds the stickiness to it that allows it to stay on your skin long enough for the proteins to bind and stain. So again, just put about a teaspoon of sugar into your henna and stir thoroughly. You'll have more lumps now, but you can stir it out again. Now the very last bit is to add essential oil, just a small dash of it. Here we're using lavender oil. You can use anything you like, it's really just for smell, but it also helps to thicken up the mixture. So continue to stir, it gets this brownish green consistency. It's really turned more cream than mashed potatoes at this point. There we go. And empty it into a plastic container so it can sit for a while. Now your henna is all mixed together. So the last part of the process is to cover it with saran wrap, as we see us doing here. Then you're going to need to let it steep for about 24 hours so the dye can fully come out due to the acid in the lemon juice. So put it in a nice sunny spot and enjoy for 24 hours.
In this section, I'm going to show you a demonstration of applying henna. I'm going to apply it on the back of the hand, but you can apply it anywhere you want, from the hands to the feet. You can find many designs on the internet for ideas or just do it freestyle. For my design, I'm going to start from the fingers and work my way down to the hand, but you can do it any way you want. After you're done applying the henna, you have to let it sit for at least 20 minutes. The key is that the longer you let it sit, the longer and darker it stays. Once it is dry and hardened, you can wash it off, and voila, you have henna.
Sushi originated during the 4th century BC in Southeast Asia as a way to preserve fish. The original sushi, known as nere zushi, was a fish wrapped in rice, allowing the natural fermentation process of rice to preserve the clean fish. The rice would later be discarded and only the fish would be eaten. Later, the Japanese preferred to eat the fish and rice together, known as saisai zushi. This would consist of eating partially raw fish and rice. Through this, the Japanese began the tradition of making sushi a cuisine rather than a form of food preservation. Today, while sushi is a main Japanese food, it is enjoyed around the globe, prepared with raw or cooked fish as well as a vegetarian. Sushi can be made to satisfy all.
Place your strip of seaweed on a flat surface and spread a thin layer of sticky sushi rice covering the entire surface. Depending on your preference and texture, you can flip the rice and seaweed over to have the rice on the outside of the roll, or you can keep it how it is and have the seaweed on the outside. Next, place thinly sliced carrots, cucumbers, avocados, as many as you would like. You can also add shrimp, salmon, or other types of seafood, as well as sweet and spicy sauces to dress up your sushi roll. Next, you will begin to slowly roll the ingredients together, and you can mold it with your hands to make the appearance round, or as I will be using, a bamboo mat. Depending on how fancy you would like to make this, you can also sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds on top. This is the bamboo roller to help keep all the ingredients stick together. The last step is to cut the roll with a serrated knife about 1 inch thick, or as thin or as thick as you would like. And you are done. Enjoy eating your homemade veggie roll.
The art of Chinese ribbon dancing began in 206 BCE and became more popular by 420 CE, and is associated with the later part of the Tang Dynasty, which lasted from the year 589 to 907. Some people theorize it began when a man saved an emperor from the Han Dynasty. He stopped a sword using a silk Chinese ribbon. Chinese ribbon dancing is called Tai-Dai Wu Dao in Chinese. It was traditionally performed for royalty with slow music and precise movements. Dancers would often use red ribbons to symbolize luck and happiness and would vary from lengths of 5 to 12 feet.
Today we're going to learn how to do some Chinese ribbon dancing. This is my assistant, Abby, and I'm Jade, and we have some students here today to learn. So, first we're going to learn some moves. We're going to do the waterfall. You go up and then zigzag down. Everyone let's join. Up and zigzag down. Alright, that looks great, everyone. The second move that we'll do is the rainbow. You go from left to right over your head. And then you can go from right to left. And oftentimes during a dance, they do this with some fancy footwear involved as well. But we won't do that. Now we're going to do the figure 8 move. Usually someone holds 2 ribbons in a hand, but it's really personal preference. So when you do, then you put them 2 together for this one. And we go make a figure 8 or an infinity with your ribbon. And it looks pretty fabulous. A couple other things to remember while you're doing Chinese ribbon dancing is that oftentimes they use a hand motion called the lotus hand for girls and a tiger hand for boys. So everyone try the lotus hand. Now we're going to combine all of the moves together into a little dance. First we're going to do the waterfall and then go right into the rainbow, left to right and right to left, and then we'll do the figure 8.